everyone, it's Silvia. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm very excited because we are going to talk about 10 Kickstarter campaigns for both tarot and oracle decks to watch right now. And I think that the key word is watching and not necessarily backing, because I strongly believe that in order for me, for example, to back a campaign on Kickstarter, I need to be sure 100% that A, it's going to be a smooth campaign, or at least as smooth as possible, and B, I'm going to be certain that what I'm backing is actually a deck that I will want to have, that I will want to use. And that is something that honestly I don't think that anyone could tell us. It's just us. I can, every 3 or 4 months, for example, I can share my wish list with you guys, and we all have lots of fun because it's like shopping, really. And I also love watching these types of videos from other tarot tubers. However, I do not endorse any of the projects that I'm going to show you today. It has happened in the past, but very rarely, in which I've actually endorsed a project carried out by someone that I did not know. And it was last year in particular, and it was unfortunately probably the worst Kickstarter campaigns that I've ever seen, that I've ever participated in, that I've ever backed. And I'm talking about many years of backing Kickstarter campaigns, and not necessarily just related to tarot and oracle decks. So I made that rookie mistake of saying, hey, please back this campaign because it looks really cool and I really like it to win and it's a really cool deck. I'm not gonna make that mistake any longer, because if you're a super backer, if you're experienced, you will know that there's so many things that can go wrong, and not necessarily because of the artist behind the campaign. It can be that maybe the printing goes wrong, or maybe the shipping goes wrong. There's so many things, so many risks, and at the end of the day, you need to be comfortable with the risks that you're taking. So what I'm going to do today, I'm going to tell you, because it's a viewer's request and also a member's request, I'm going to tell you the 10 campaigns that I'm watching right now, and I'm going to share with you why I'm watching them and why I might be backing them. But this is not an endorsement. As I said, you need to be doing your own research and be comfortable with backing whatever campaign you choose. But let's start and let's have a look. So first of all, there is one campaign that is unfortunately, it's still active, but it's got only 1 day left, and it's the Gentle Tarot Dream Deck and full-size guidebook. And the only reason why I'm actually showing you this campaign, even though I know that by the time in which this video will be posted, this campaign would have ended, is because, generally speaking, Mary in the Sky makes the decks available in her online shop once all of the Kickstarter rewards have been shipped. Now, I don't know that for sure. I haven't been told, so I could be wrong. This could be the one campaign where she actually is not going to do that, but you know, it would be very weird. So I believe that sometimes we look at Kickstarter campaigns not because we want to back the campaign, but because we want to see the decks. And in the possibility, in the chance that this deck will then be available in an online store, we already know that if it's in stock, we already know that it's going to ship within 3 to 5 business days, for example. We don't have to wait that long. We already have a lot of tarot tubers that would have talked about this deck and told you already if they vibe with it or not. There will be a number of things that we can actually verify, and that will definitely create a peace of mind for us to decide whether we want to buy that deck or not. So I'm going to show you this deck, even though you won't be able to back it once this video will be posted. So let's have a look. Now, it's, as I said, this is a pretty much a deck that is very similar, I believe, to the Gentle Tarot. I have a couple of editions of the Gentle Tarot. However, this one comes with white borders, as you can see already here. And because I do follow Mary in the Sky on her YouTube channel and also on her Instagram account, I've noticed that there's a couple of more differences in a few of the cards. So it's not just a matter of white borders as opposed to colored borders, but also a couple of differences in the cards. So as you can see here, also the backs will be different. There's a few stretch goals. I think that she may have actually hit almost all of the stretch goals here. I can see up to 70,000 US dollars. The Dream Deck upgrades from a tuck box to a magnetic closed box. But, and these are in, they are highlighted. The last two stretch goals are not, so maybe they have not been hit yet. But, you know, from 70,000 to 75,000, it's one day to go. I don't know, you never know, because sometimes there's people that, you know, they back a campaign at the last moment. So this is what you can do, what you can back, and these are also the add-ons. I have to say, whenever I back a campaign from Marine the Sky, I always like to put some add-ons in there, because there's so many really cool things. For example, for my friend Fire, which is an Oracle deck, I actually added on, I believe, a beach towel, because I go to the beach quite often, so I really like to see that. So, as I said, it's up to you, but this is one of the 10 that I'm actually watching right now. Then going back to the main page where I saved all of my projects that I'm actually keeping an eye on, the second one, as you can see here, is also being deemed, it has received a stamp of approval from Kickstarter, and it's actually called, it's called the Tarot of Colors, a healing journey through the power of hue, and it's one project we love. So it has been 333% funded. It does have 4 days to go, and the artist is based in Sydney, according to the information that I can see on the page. When I look into them though, I also see that other campaigns, some of them were not successful, another campaign was successful. There's a number of things that I believe you need to pay attention to. There's a fantastic video by Lisa Pepez about the things that you need to pay attention to when you want to decide whether to back a campaign or not. And this is one of the things. So have a look at how many has been created, but it's not just the number of decks or campaigns that have been created, it's also the number of campaigns that were successful. Because someone can create, I don't know, 30 campaigns, but none of them would have been successful. And you know, sometimes that's a bit of an indicator that there might be some kind of issues. It's never 100% certain, and please don't take it as a given, because it's not. But this one is a project we love. It's been more than funded, and you know, we can, let's say, it's one less thing we have to worry about, because it's already been funded. Now this one talks about colors, and colors are extremely important for me, and that's one of the reasons why I'm actually keeping it under my radar. It does have 4 days to go only, and I'm probably going to post this video next week, so you'll probably still have at least 24 hours to back this campaign if you so wish. It is based on colors. I strongly believe in color therapy. I really see how my emotions depend on colors, and I see how I react to colors. Sometimes they calm myself down. They can also give me a lot of energy. Sometimes I also decide on what colors to wear when it comes to clothes, for example, if I need to feel in a certain way. Maybe not everyone does that, but color therapy has been working wonders for many, many years. So it is something that I wanted to be interested in, and I wanted to explore as a possibility. And this deck, indeed, it says experience the transformative power of color and tarot, connecting your heart, mind, and soul with every card. What I really like, and I invite you to actually check about this campaign, is the way in which it has been done. So it's not just about having a look at the cards. Of course, we can all do that, and I can already say there's some cards that I really like, but there's also the story of the behind the scenes and how the deck was created. As you can see, the process is completely 100% human-based. There's a video here that shows you how it was done. So first the pencil for the drawing, and then the watercolor. And this is something that I find extremely important. It is something that is very important for me, and maybe it's not for you, maybe you don't really care about what media have been used to create a deck, but to me, knowing that this is the process that has been behind the scene of creating these cards is very important. So this is something that I feel very confident about. There is absolutely nothing unethical about the production of these cards. As I said, this is one of the 10 Kickstarter campaigns that I'm actually watching right now. But going back to the page with all the saved projects, and I apologize because my internet is never that slow, but today it looks like it's very slow, so be it. Maybe it's because of the time of the day everyone is using it, I don't know. In any case, let's have a look at the third one. So this one is, let's say, one of those decks that we always tend to see in August every year, and it's about a Halloween themed deck. I never put my hopes high to receive a deck that I back in August to receive it for Halloween. It has never happened. Many backers will receive it for Halloween. I'm imagining this deck will come from the US, so if you're based in the US, it will probably be one of the decks you will receive for Halloween. But for me, it's more like, okay, I think about using this deck Halloween next year, because that's what will happen to me. In any case, it's called the Witchy Witch Halloween Tarot. There are 9 days left at the time of filming, so I'm pretty confident that you guys will be able to back it when this video will be published. It has not funded yet. As you can see here, my total, you will be able to see it in Australian dollars because I'm based in Australia. So the total that they want for 100% funding is 4,772 Australian dollars, and for now it's being funded at 3,374 with only 21 backers. So I feel like this deck, I don't know whether it will be made into a deck or not. I don't know whether it will be funded or not. You never know, honestly. But you know, it's really cute, it's really nice. And I can also say, if you're worried about a deck like this having lazy, peepish minors, we can already see that that will not be the case, because we have the Four of Wands in this image, and it's fully scenic. We have the Five of Cups, we have the Four of Pentacles, and the Eight of Swords, and they're all fully scenics. So, you know, that makes me believe that all of the minors will be fully scenics, fully illustrated. Now, I really love the vibes of this deck. It looks incredibly cute, and if you look at the strength card, you will see that it's a massive spider, but this is not one of those spiders that actually scare me, so it's really cute, and I find it really lovely. Between one of the things that really caught my eye when looking at the campaign in this case is the fact that they have some really super duper cute add-ons, and one of them is another tarot deck, which is, let's see if I find it here, scrolling down. So the Spooky Halloween Cat Tarot, which I believe was a Kickstarter campaign from last year. I did not back it, but I find it incredibly cute, and I think that it would be really interesting to add it on. And in here you can see some of the cards. Again, this is going to be again a fully scenic minors deck, so not to worry about all of the problems that we have sometimes when we have, for example, a very lazy, peepish minor. But also another deck that you can add on, some of the cards reveal, is the Spooky Halloween Cat Oracle. And I'm thinking, looking at the cards now, I'm thinking I can actually pair this deck with a lot of other tarot decks that I've got that are, let's say, Halloween in theme, and this is going to be really interesting. I love the colors, the oranges and the purples, for example, but if you look at the keywords, they're actually pretty cool. Recovery, karma, ask for help. I mean, I would love to have an oracle deck that has that as a prompt. And then you got reunion, looking for a sign. I mean, come on, it's super cute. And remain positive, which I really love. And loneliness and memory and karma. You're ready. and not the right timing. Oh, that's so cute. So I really think that this Oracle deck is probably one of the reasons why I will end up backing, you know, both the tarot that is presented in the Kickstarter campaign and add-on this Oracle deck, and probably also the cat, the spooky cat tarot, as an add-on. But again, as I say, always, please let me just repeat that. Oh, there's another one, sorry. There's also a creepy Halloween cat tarot. So there's another one, not just the spooky Halloween, but the creepy Halloween. So there's a few add-ons that you want to check out. Please let me repeat this. Do your own research, because you never know what might happen in a campaign, and I'm not endorsing them. This one has not been funded, and as I said, it's got a few days left, so it might get funded, but it might also not get funded, unfortunately. So going back to the main page, let's have a look. And so in here now we've got one that I actually, let's say, I would never recommend it, but I'm pretty positive about it. And as I said, please don't take it as an endorsement. This deck has been 700% funded. I don't think I've ever seen that for tarot and oracle decks. I've seen that for a project for photography gadgets, for example, which is another category on Kickstarter that I constantly check out. I have a separate account for that. But 700%, it means that there's a lot of people out there that are really interested in this deck. And it's by Una in Space. And you probably heard this name. I follow her account on Instagram. I have backed another deck by her. This is the Secret Garden Renaissance Magic in Tarot, a classic tarot deck with the original illustration set in a secret garden of the Renaissance. Now this deck, let me tell you, the images, the art style, it looks absolutely fantastic. I really loved it, and as you can see here, because sometimes it may happen that a deck gets 300, 400, 500% funded because their original target was very low. However, this one didn't have, I believe that $15,000, 272, was actually a reasonable target, and the fact there has been pledges by 817 backers for a total of 110,138 Australian dollars, it means that there's a lot of people who trust Una in Space, right? There's a lot of people who trust her, and this is also a project we love as a stamp of approval from Kickstarter campaigns. As I said, this doesn't mean anything. There could still be projects that are completely unrelated to how Charlotta, that's her main name, they don't depend on her, but you know, there's a lot of things that could go wrong, or it could be a completely smooth campaign. You never know. So as you can see here, there's already a 7 of Swords, and we can see that it's fully scenic. There's the Chariot and the 5 of Wands and 4 of Swords, for example. I really love the dark background in this deck. And the Magician, for example, the Devil card, and the 9 of Cups, for example, that we can see here. And this is one of the original drawings. So again, I'm very grateful when an artist does that, when they share the process behind the completion or the creation of a deck, because it gives me just, you know, one more assurance that it's a genuine deck. The Wheel of Fortune, for example, and then we do have a look at all the major arcanas, Major Arcana, and the Suit of Wands, and the backs are really beautiful as well, and the Suit of Swords, and the Suit of Pentacles. I love the hands and the Two of Pentacles, it's really beautiful. I love the presence of hands in here. And the Suit of Cups. And then all of the items that I believe either you can add on or you can pay more for, which is the same as adding on. Sorry, there could be stretch goals. I didn't pay attention. So there's a really beautiful book as well. There's an altar cloth. There's also a calendar, the Ritual Tear-Off, and an embroidered agenda, a notebook, a journal, okay, sorry about that, postcards, and flower goblets, which are really cool. And so obviously here that you can tell you all you can get with the rewards. You get free US shipping, the cost of the deck, and all of the other stuff that you can buy. Really beautiful, I like it, but it's always personal. But this is definitely one that I'm keeping my eyes on. So another Kickstarter campaign that I'm watching, unfortunately I cannot get into it because there's nudity, and I do find that lately the algorithm on YouTube is, let's say, incredibly strict, and they do pick up on nudity. And you know, I was showing a deck possibly 2-3 months ago, and the video was demonetized, and it was a tarot deck. It wasn't particularly sexy. There was just some nudity in the deck. So I'm just going to be very, very careful from now on. Unfortunately, it's probably a new algorithm. They're just trying it out and they need to fine tune it. But let me tell you, when I do speak, when and if I do speak with the customer, not the customer service, but let's say the technical support, they just don't want to, it's not that they don't want to help, they do want to help. I don't know how to explain this. It's just that they're not very helpful because they probably have very strict guidelines for themselves as well. And if they do see nudity, they will tell you this video cannot be monetized. So in any case, this is called the 3 Red Moons, and it's made by Chris Madsen. I believe you know Chris because there's a couple of decks called the Witch Tarot, the Witch's Tarot and the Witch's Oracle, or it could be something similar to, I don't have them, but if you go into this Kickstarter campaign, which at the time of filming still has 16 days left, and it's been already 100%, actually 160% funded, I believe that you will be able to see the other decks that have been created by this artist, and you will be able to see the cards. I personally love this one more than the other decks that is created, and I think that it's an incredibly beautiful deck. But again, I'm sorry that I cannot get into it, but it is one of the 10 that I'm watching at the moment. Then there's another deck which is called the Mordant Arcana Tarot, which is almost funded. It's a 93% and it's got 17 days left. And this is a tarot deck and booklet by Strega Wolf Eden van den Berg and Tessa. Sorry, I just clicked on it at the wrong time. So, and Tessa Winters. So Mordant Arcana, a tarot deck and booklet. It doesn't specifically say what the theme of this deck is. There's 102 backers. I feel like it might be something really, really interesting. So I'm seeing a couple of cards here. For example, this is the 6 of Cups, and I really like it that it also gives you the possibility to read what the guidebook would say about that card. So Wonder, Memory, the Bliss of Truth. Basho, the stuffed llama, was exhausted. There had been so many monsters under the bed tonight that she had not gotten any sleep, despite it being nearly 6 a.m. Her person was having a really, really hard time. She had lost a job, her uncle has passed away, and she was scared of getting older. When she slept, all the worries made the scariest of beasts, but nothing scared Basho. She had been here from the beginning, still kicking mustard butt was tiring. She clambered back onto the silken sheets, lifted her person's arm carefully, and snuggled in. There was a contented sigh. It was good to be loved. So the animal is the llama glama, and the flower is the queen of the Andes. Now I love this association, I love these premises, I love that there's microfiction stories, and it says here a dungeon generator tool. So it says here a dungeon generator tool for use in any game, written by Tessa Winters and edited by Walton Wood. So we have also the example of the box and the chariot card. Now, when it comes to the artwork, I will have to say this is a booklet. I will have to say that it looks very much like photos that have been digitally manipulated. Okay, so I couldn't really find something that was explaining the process behind the creation of the deck. There's a lot about the manifesting the cards, not about the intention. And as you can see here, this Matt Tarot Dungeon Generator, I think is one of the coolest thing I've ever seen. So the artists behind this deck are into RPG as well, And I think you can tell, you know, looking at the setup here. So we can also have a look at a few of the cards. They're obviously in black and white, so I know that this might not be for everyone. I personally actually really like black and white when it's done in a really nice way. And so we can have a look at the cards here. So all the cards of the Mordant Arcana. Okay, so the website is having trouble, and but it's not, and I double check other websites and it's not. So it's definitely the Kickstarter website that it's having trouble. Apologies for that, but in any case, as I said, I'm really intrigued by this deck. It looks really interesting, and so this is definitely one of the 10 that I'm watching, and I might actually end up backing this deck. So going back to the main page where I have all of the ones that I've saved, and let's have a look. So there is something here that you probably know already, and I'm thinking some of you may have already backed this, because I've heard about this deck on many social media platforms. So this is the tarot deck Persona Obscura, Golden Velvet Masquerade Tarot. This is by Many Are Playing Cards. It's got 20 days left. It's been already funded at 125%. A luxurious 78-card tarot deck cloaked in gold and velvet, unveiling hidden truth through masks, mystery and shadow symbolism. Now, masks are incredibly interesting and intriguing for me, and so I was probably drawn in by the title of the deck. Persona Obscura is something that you don't know, is someone that is protecting themselves behind, or defending themselves, or hiding themselves behind a mask. And so just reading about the story here, for example, it says, an independent studio devoted to creating exclusive unforgettable tarot and oracle decks. They created 19 decks, okay? So, wow. Our mission is simple: become one of the world's leading creators of collector-worthy, emotionally resonant decks that blend storytelling, beauty, and spiritual depth. So let me just see, just for my understanding, which decks they have created, because it says 19 and I'm very curious. And hopefully the page will load eventually. So they created a deck that has been funded at, from July this year. So 573% funded. The Yakuza Tarot Chi Namakusai Tabi. I didn't even see this one because in July I was away, unfortunately, but I think I would have probably backed it. There's other decks that have been backed: the Arcana Obscura, the Occult Tarot, Tabi no Kokoro, the Heart of the Journey, the Fantasie d'Amour. So it looks like almost all of them have been funded, and then some 500%, 400%. This one, the Red Panda Odyssey, did not fund. Necropolis did not fund. Journey to the West Tarot deck funded. So, okay, they created a lot of decks, and it looks like at least the majority of them have been funded. So it is, you know, it is one thing that you always think about. Maybe if they created 19 decks and let's say at least 10 have been funded, they probably know what the main problems will be. They probably know how to make sure that things will run smoothly, or at least they will try their best to fulfill everything that they need to on their end. Things can always happen. So I'm very curious about this one, because for what I can see here, it doesn't show a lot of cards, but there is a link to a video on YouTube, and maybe they will show the behind the scenes. It's called the behind the scenes here. So, which is something that I'm always interested in. But as you can see here, we got the Fool, we got the Magician and the High Priestess, and I actually really like them. I like these cards. They're really dark, but at the same time, it feels like they're very powerful. I can definitely feel and see the gold and the velvet that are common elements. So this is the box. So the quality here says 400 GSM premium, colorful print, matte finish, and a great gift. It may be a gift, I don't know, I will probably back it just for myself. You can see some other cards here, the Empress, the Emperor, and the Hierophant. and the Lovers and the Chariot and the Strength card, the Hermit, the Wheel of Fortune, and Justice. Okay, so as I said, this is a deck that I'm really keeping an eye on because it just really ticks all the boxes for me. It is dark, but it's very elegant at the same time. It looks very interesting. So I'm, sometimes when I know that there's 20 days left, I will save it. It's already saved in the projects that I want to keep an eye on. And I will go back, and when you do save a project, for example, you log in with your account and you save a project, you will also receive a reminder in your email. Or I believe maybe you need to switch something up, but I do receive reminders in my email telling me, hey, by the way, there's only 3 days left to back this project. So I will definitely not lose it, not miss out on it. So the next project that I wanted to talk about is actually not a deck. Although, let's say it does come with a lot of stickers and working sheets that you can use probably also as a deck, and it's incredibly cute. It's a journal. So it's called the Wild Woodland Tarot and Oracle Journal by Sarah Riley. As you can see here, it's got 24 days left. It has already been funded at 215% at the time of filming. It's an enchanting and beautifully illustrated book to deepen your card reading practice, manifesting, moon phases, crystals, and so much more. So I had a look at this and I wanted to double check, because whenever someone says, oh, there's information about this, information about that, and so many things, and all contained in one book, just one book, I always kind of suspect that there's going to be just one page for each thing. Now, from what I could see, this is actually really interesting. It is a fascinating book. They call it journal, but it's not just a journal, and it's got plenty of things. And on top of everything, I would say it is incredibly cute, really incredibly cute. So as you can see here, it's got edge printing as well. This is the tarot journal. Created for those who use tarot and oracle cards but are also drawn to the world of moon phases, crystals, emotional healing, self-reflection and development, and the quiet magic of everyday life. Now, I'm actually considering buying this deck back in this campaign and probably using it together with my members, because what I do with my members, both my Sunlight members and my Starlight members, especially my Starlight members, every month we have these themes, and I look at any kind of rituals that we can associate whenever we're doing a deck study, for example, or for example with the Starlight members, whenever we're looking at a certain specific theme. For example, July is dedicated to, August is currently dedicated to the Devil card and the study of how the Devil represents body shame, for example. So we're talking about body shame, and I'm always sharing practices for each and every day of the month. So there's rituals, and there's affirmations, there's meditation, there's journaling prompts, there's all sorts of things. And I also recommend a number of tarot and oracle decks, a number of books, fiction and non-fictions, that are related to the thing we're talking about in that particular month. And I'm also recommending music to listen to, or TV shows to watch, and so on and so forth. And so having a journal like that can actually give me some ideas on what to do for my members. So I'm actually really interested in this journal. It also gives you what the contents are, and an introduction on how to use the journal, what's the difference between tarot and oracle, introduction to the Wild Woodland Oracle Guidebook, and so on and so forth. And so as you can see here, for example, it's got emotion and inner healing worksheet. It's got a lot of worksheet here. Career and life purpose, spiritual growth and intuition, moon lovers, new moons. So it's really interesting. It's really, really interesting. And I think that it's something that is, for me, for my practice and also for my membership in my channel, it is really worth it. It's worth backing. So it is already in my saved project, but I would definitely circle back to this page when I almost at the end of the campaign. That's when I generally back a project towards the end of a campaign. I also wait until the end because I really want to see whether it's being backed, it becomes popular, for example. But I also read a lot of the updates before backing. I read a lot of the frequently asked questions. I read a lot of the comments of the backers. You never know. So I do everything I can to protect myself. And as I said, please do your research because you never know. There's stickers as well, which is really cool. Unique book. Yeah, it looks really interesting. So this is coming from the UK. The prices are in pounds. So going back, I believe we're almost at the last one, or maybe second to last campaign that I wanted to show you today out of this 10 Kickstarter campaign to watch. Yes, this is number 9, so second to last. This one is the DAWAG Overgrow Tarot by Converth and Puruluman Studio. Let me just go into it. It's got 28 days left. It's been funded at the time of filming at 73%. This is a stunning tarot deck by Filipino artist Converth. So the Magic Earth Tarot is by the same artist, so if you have that deck you will remember. But also there's another couple of decks that I really love. Unfortunately I don't have them. I always found that the shipping costs were more expensive than the deck itself, and you know, that kind of throws me off, because if I want to spend, I want to give money to the artist, of course, but thinking that I'm actually paying more to the shipping company, it bothers me a little bit. So I always think twice. But this one is a Kickstarter campaign, so you never know. This one has just launched and it's already been 73% funded, so it's really you know, it's a good sign. So primal, textured and visceral art woven into powerful evocative scenes. It's from Manila in the Philippines, of course, and let's just have a look at the cards, because I do believe that this creator has a very particular kind of art style that is really interesting, as you can see here. And as I said, there's a couple of decks by this same creator, and you'll be able to notice whether you can see the same type of art style. So let's have a look if we do have a few cards. A note on AI, let me just read it this, because it's always something that it's always at the back of my mind. Do I want to check whether it's AI or not? Both Converth and Puruluman Studio are highly skilled artists, and every piece of artwork is in this deck is meticulously crafted by hand. Whether it's drawn on a phone, tablet or a drawing tablet, each illustration is infused with personal artistry and care. Even the smallest adjustments are made with precision, sometimes even using a mouse for those final touches. Rest assured, none of the artwork was generated by AI or any image generating software. This deck is a true labor of love, created by real artists for a one-of-a-kind experience. I just wanted to read it out loud because it is something that I would prefer not to comment on, but it is something that is always at the back of my mind. So let's have a look at, for example, the major arcanas here. They look really beautiful. I actually really like it. I like the asa. It looks like the cards are very, very busy. There's a lot of elements there, a lot of you know, plants and herbal imagery, but it looks like it's very well thought of. And now we're going to have a look at the minor arcana, in specific the suit of wands. Well, there's a very interesting 6 of wands there. Okay. And the website is playing up again, so we're looking at the minor arcana, the suit of swords for now. So the 3 of swords is still a pressed heart, which is not necessarily what I like to see, but then again, you know, it is a traditional symbol. The 5 of swords is a bit lacking, but you know, I haven't read the guidebook. Obviously I cannot possibly know, maybe there's something really special about that 5 of swords. The 6 of swords, 7 of swords with what I believe are sorry, that just went away. Okay, well, never mind. We're looking at the Suit of Pentacles now. Sorry about that. It's just, and it's not, I mean, we are still in Mercury. At the time of filming, it's the last day of Mercury retrograde, I believe. So that might be related to that. But in any case, apologies for that. This, you don't see the behind the scenes, but this is the 4th time that I'm attempting to film in this video. and it just doesn't want to film. So it's just, you know, it is what it is. But in any case, you can check it out for yourself, and maybe that's one more reason to check it out for yourself. Really love the images, by the way, so it is something that I'm keeping my eye on. And then last but not least, let's have a look. The last project out of these 10 Kickstarter campaigns to watch right now that I wanted to talk about today is an Oracle deck. So this is called the Nereid Oracle deck by Stephen Welling. It's got 49 days left at the time of filming. It's been funded at 75%. It's got a kind of a bichromatic colors, and I know that this is not for everyone, but it is because it's based on sea nymphs from the Greek myth, and maybe there's the theme of the sea with the blue of the sea or the indigo of the sea, and I really, really like this color, so that's something that immediately caught my eye. So let me just get into it, and we'll see what the cards look like, if the website is going to let me. So okay, so the artwork look absolutely gorgeous. As I was saying, I really love this color. It's something that it's my favorite color. This one, between this color and let's say a teal green, they are my favorite colors. As you can see here as well, it's really interesting that we got the name of the nymph, but we also have, so the name is at the top and then the keyword associated with that is at the bottom. We are looking at the deck of 97 cards. 97 cards and an only 57-page guidebook. So I'm imagining there's just a few keywords per card, but 97 cards. It also specifies here, this artwork is not AI generated. I'm a graduate art student and use watercolor paint and drawn images and illustrated and completed in a project in Photoshop. Thank you for specifying that. I feel that nowadays artists feel like they have to say, which is really sad, but then again, we do want to be reassured, right? So these are the images. I'm just gonna go quickly because there is nudity in here as well, and you know, you always have to be careful these days. It is what it is. YouTube has become something like that, so we need to be careful. But I believe that they might have finished all of the cards because there's a lot here. Oh, sorry about that. So, okay, so booklet excerpt. Let's see, in Greek legend, Nereids are singing women. Weavers swimming amongst the dolphins, crowned in red coral, they personify the ever-changing waves, bestowing protection to mariners and ocean travelers. Granddaughters of Thetis and the Titan Oceanus, they are also daughters of Doris and Nereus, the wise old men of the sea. These water nymphs are ageless and infinite like the stars. They are glittering muses, liberators, childbearers and protectors, the embodiment of compassion and benevolence, offering their divine wisdom to guide the seeker on their voyage. Really like that. Thank you for the introduction. And this is Amphitrite with strength, and it's absolutely gorgeous. Oh my goodness, look at the shade, the variation of the shades between the blues and the teals. This is going to be my favorite colors. This is, okay, I'm just gonna say that unless it doesn't find, and it's like 1 day left and it's still not funded, I will most likely back this project. I just really love the colors and I love these cards. But that was it for today. So 10 Kickstarter campaigns that I'm currently watching. If you know of a Kickstarter campaign that is not within the ones that I was showing today and you think that it's really interesting, please let me know in the comments below because I'm always looking, and it's always nice to hear that you guys are still active on Kickstarter, because I feel that lately there's a lot of us backers that are really worried about what's going on, let's say, a tariff level. So, you know, it's really interesting to see that there's still a lot of people backing Kickstarter campaigns, of course. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.